got a feeling, a great feeling from Jimmy Lakey. Jimmy Lakey in the morning makes me feel alive. Woke me up this morning, now I'm up and on my way. Oh, 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 yeah, what a great way to start your day, the Lakey way.
There I am. Welcome to the program, everybody. Good to have you here on this Friday edition of the Lakey Unleashed Streamcast. And if you're listening later in the day, you know it's a podcast. But whenever you're listening, glad to have you here. Jaime Lagos, Jimmy Lakey, unleashed from the bonds of corporate radio, and now doing a little show for you here this morning on a Friday. It's the 15th day of May, year of our Lord 2025. And hey, let's get it on. What do you say? Let's do it. And let's conversate one with another. Big story breaking overnight and continuing throughout the day. It leads us to our question of the day. Should James Comey be arrested? He has evidently been stumbling across seashells on the seashore. And with that, you have to ask, did you really stumble across seashells on the seashore? Or did you make the seashells yourself on the seashore? If you don't know the story yet, you're about to hear the story probably throughout the course of the day. And we'll see if the Department of Justice shows up at old James Comey, the former director of the FBI. See if they show up at his home or his office or wherever he's at, and have a few questions for Mr. Comey. Evidently, Mr. Comey, on his social media feed, decided to post a photo of some seashells down by the seashore. And the photos of the seashells by the seashore actually just simply spelled out the numbers 8647. 8647. If you know what that number 86 means, I've been told it's actually a military command. It's also, I know, used in the restaurants. I'm not sure where it originated. But 86 something off the menu means throw it off the menu. Get rid of it. Put it in the trash. Destroy it. The Secret Service is now investigating an ex-FBI director, James Comey. He posted an Instagram photo with seashells arranged to show the numbers 8647 and a message that the White House now is condemning and saying he's putting a hit out on the 47th president. The James Comey later deleted, according to Fox News. James Comey later deleted the post after online backlash from government officials, lawmakers, and President Donald Trump's son. Trump has faced 2 assassination attempts that I'm sure James Comey celebrated, one of which resulted in him being shot and a bystander being killed. The post, including the alleged hit, showed the numbers 8 in question etched in the sand at the beach using seashells, and all he would reply was cool shell formation on my beach walk. While to some people the numbers may appear innocuous, 86 is frequently used as a call of a sign for murdering or getting rid of someone, while 47 has been interpreted as denoting the 47th president of the United States. James Comey just happened to stumble across these seashells on the seashore and said, wow, what a cool arrangement of seashells. Isn't that exciting? After the backlash, James Comey, the narcissist idiot that he is, decided to post. He said, I posted earlier, this is his quote, I posted earlier a picture of some shells that I saw today on a beach. Does anybody believe that he just saw these shells? Is there anybody believes that this lying man, who really, when his mouth is moving, his heart is lying, that he really just stumbled across these shells on the seashore as he walked down the beach today? He says, I assumed it was a political message, but I didn't realize that some folks associated those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. So he sees the number. Now, think of the idiocy of this story. This is a story you would not believe your teenager lying when they came in home late from curfew on it. I was stumbling down the beach, and I'm walking down the beach, and there just happened to be some perfectly arranged shells on beautiful, pristine sand that said 8647. And I took a photo and said, oh, what a lovely political message. Isn't that great? I didn't realize it was a violent political message. I just knew it was a political message. So let me ask James Comey, you narcissist asswipe. You said you know that it was a political message. What kind of political message did you think it was? Look at the photo that's on the screen right now. What kind of, he says, I know it was a political message. I just didn't realize that some people thought it was violent. Well, what was the political message that James Comey thought it portrayed? What was the political message that James Comey thought this represented? He said he admits, I know this was a political message. It wasn't about the seashells, but out the seashore. It was actually a political message. James, what kind of message did you think that this portrayed? I have to ask you the question, and I'd like the answer for that. He knew it. He's a beautiful seashells. So it wasn't about some mysterious arrangement of seashells. Evidently, he thought it was a political message. He just didn't know it was a violent political message. I'd like to know what kind of political message he thought it was conveying, because James Comey's mouth is moving, his fingers are typing, and that man would not be trusted to water my cactus if I was on a long holiday. I'm sorry. He's the most untrustworthy, disgusting, demonic human being probably that walks among us today in full sight. He really is an evil man. And the question of the day, should James Comey be arrested? Now, the stories are that he is going to be he is being investigated right now by the FBI. He removed the post. Fox News Digital learned from a source in the Secret Service that they were aware of the matter and will be sending agents to interview and investigate James Comey. The FBI, where Comey used to work before he was fired by Trump during his first term, had no comment on the matter. But it was also apparent that people at the top levels of the agency were aware of the post. Trump's new FBI director, Kash Patel, acknowledged on X, that's Twitter, by the way, that agency personnel were aware of Comey's post in his own statement shared on X. Here's what Kash Patel said from the FBI. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Karan. Primary jurisdiction is with the Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide the Secret Service all necessary support. The ex-FBI's social media slip-up harkens back to an incident in February of 2020, says Fox News, involving a comedian and actor, John Mulaney. During an opening monologue on Saturday Night Live, Mulaney made a reference to Trump and the assassination of Roman dictator Julius Caesar, and that was promptly investigated by the FBI. Another thing happened under Julius Caesar, said the comedian. He was such a powerful maniac that all the senators grabbed knives and they stabbed him to death. He says, wouldn't it be interesting if we brought that back now? He said to laughters from the SNL audience. In response to Comey's post, the White House is condemning his actions, and the White House chief of staff said that and Cabinet Secretary Taylor Budowich said there's a very deeply concerning. And the quote from the White House, while the president is currently on an international trip to the Middle East, the former FBI director puts out what can clearly be interpreted as a hit on a sitting president of the United States. This is deeply concerning to all of us and should be taken seriously. Representative Burchett, Republican, out of Tennessee, who was endorsed by Trump in 2024, went on a further step and called for Comey to be arrested for his controversial post. The question is, should he be arrested for this? Is this just a matter of free speech? And whether or not he should be arrested may be the question of the day. But is there anybody that believes this guy? He was just stumbling down the beach one day. Merrily he walked, looking at the seashells by the seashore. And he happened to see the seashells automatically arranged in the numbers 8647. And he thought it was a cool formation. What a great thing. And then he posts up when he gets his ass busted. He says, well, I knew it was a political message. I just didn't know what the political message was. What say you on all of the platforms that you're on? If you're on any of the Facebook platforms we're on, Jimmy Lakey fan page, Media Equalizer, Red Wave America, etc. Go ahead and post your comments. We see those right here in the studio. Mike is checking in from the X. You see the logo there on the screen. He is smart enough to get his message out and avoid prosecution. He is a snake. Mike also says Comey wants to be relevant again. But James Comey is officially under investigation in the Secret Services. If they haven't already, they will be paying his ass a visit. James Comey, a disgrace to America. And James Comey putting a hit out on the president of the United States. Should James Comey be arrested? I say yes. All of you, comment, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. We see those comments as well. I'll check the Instagram manually. It doesn't populate the studio, but I want to see what you have to say. I see Rich comes in there. Rich says, perp walk Comey, middle of the night police raid on his house would be fitting. That's what he always called on for his political foes. RJ says, yes, Comey should be arrested. So should James Comey be arrested? And is there anybody who believes his story that he just stumbled across the seashell formation And yes, from Wyoming, lock up Comey. That's what Den says. So a lot of folks showing no mercy to Comey, and I think you're right. James Comey should be perp walked in this. I think he should be, and he knows better. Again, this is the former director of the CIA. Excuse me, the FBI. This is the former chief law enforcement officer of America, the FBI, right? And he doesn't know what 86 means. He's stupid enough. Do you believe James Comey is so stupid that he sees that political message, and when he sees it, he goes, oh, look, a political message. I will share it out to the world. Oh, I didn't know it's that political message. Well, what political message did the jackass think it is? This disgusting human being, this scum that you would wipe off the bottom of your feet, named James Comey, what did he think the political message was? His explanation actually doesn't make any sense. I knew it was a political message, but I didn't know what a political message was. Let me tell you, if you see a message out there that's a political message, or you see some writing on the bathroom wall, or you see something, and you know it's a message, you know it's saying something, do you put it, especially as a public figure, out on your Instagram or out on your social media for all to see and then play dumb and go, well, I knew it was a political message that I wanted to share, but I didn't know what the political message meant? Well, what do you think the political message was, James Comey? So I think his explanation does not help him at all. Now, somebody posted he wants to be relevant again. There could be that. He's a narcissist. I think by definition, you would know James Comey is a narcissist. You can see that he has lied in his book. Just look up all the lies of James Comey. You'll find many of them. So should he be arrested? And do you think his explanation helped anything? So far, everybody's out there, even our friend Arloa down in the great state of Texas, the Lone Star State, says, yep, no mercy for Comey. Yeah, I think maybe... Is El Salvador available? Do they have an extra bed in the prison there for James Comey? Tren de Aragua and MS-13 would probably love to assassinate the president. So maybe James Comey could be put in El Salvador. I think that would be a very, very wonderful thing. Scott says this: Comey has always believed himself he's above the law. I can't think of a better administration to show him otherwise. I'm thinking James Comey would look good in orange. I heard that Donald Trump Jr. posted up a Twitter feed or a Truth Social post this morning that had a Photoshop of James Comey in orange. I had another friend post the same thing. It seems as if there's no defending this message. And especially when you put out a message that follows it, a statement to explain yourself, when you have to erase it and delete it and pull it down. You put out the statement says, well, I knew it was a political message, but I didn't know what the message was, but it was beautiful. It was really cool. None of that makes sense at all. You put a statement, this is a cool thing here going on. It's very, very cool. It's very, very lovely. And yet it's not that lovely after all. It's a fascinating conversation to watch. And James Comey has stepped in the middle of it, says Scott. And should he be arrested? I say he should be. Perp walk, get him down the street, and adios amigo, buenos noches, and send him to El Salvador. I think that would be a perfect place for him. All right, there's your question of the day today. Should James Comey be arrested? You're right. He has always believed he's above the law, says Scott, and I think this is the perfect time for him to start recognizing that. Isn't it amazing how many people we're finding out have just thought that they were above the law? They thought that the law did not pertain to them. It's like the big fat judge, the large woman, the robust woman, the lady. How about that? The woman who is the judge in Wisconsin. She gets indicted by a grand jury because she tried to help an illegal alien escape the courthouse when the ICE is out front ready to arrest her. A federal grand jury. I don't know if you saw this. I think we covered it briefly on the story. Her name was Hannah Dugan. Saw that ICE was there, was very angry, so she told the defendant who was in her court to make a plea or to receive sentencing for a trial. She got angry with ICE, told ICE to go to the hall and check with her boss. And while ICE diverted, she says, come this way, Juan, come this way, guapo, come this way. And she escorted him out the back fire escape. That's a private entrance, and said, get the hell out of here. The federales are here. The federal grand jury has indicted the Milwaukee County judge, Hannah Dugan, after a day-long hearing on charges that she was assisting an undocumented illegal immigrant escape arrest from her very courtroom last month. Now Hannah Dugan, who's 66, previously was charged with obstructing a U.S. agency and concealing an individual to prevent arrest. The charges now carry a maximum penalty of 6 years in prison and a $350,000 fine. But sentences in cases involving nonviolent are typically much shorter than the 6 years. It wasn't immediately clear what charges were contained in the grand jury indictment, but the grand jury, a jury of her peers, actually saw the evidence and said, yeah, we have to charge her with this. She's expected, I think yesterday, she entered a not guilty plea and begged the judge to please let her off the hook. She didn't mean anything by it. It's kind of the James Comey. I was just stumbling down the beach and I saw seashells on the seashore. And I said, oh, look, an illegal. Let's let him out the back door. James Comey stumbling down the seashore, looking at the seashells and said, I knew it was a political message. I just didn't know it was violent. I knew that this was an illegal and I knew that was a door. I just didn't know that I shouldn't let him out that back door. These people are demonstrating in front of you an insult to your intelligence, pretending as if they have no common sense and no understanding of reality. So the same way that Hannah Dugan got a little mugshot, I'm thinking James Comey's mugshot might be in his future. And I say hip, hip, hooray for that. Hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray. All right, that is your question of the day. Should James Comey be arrested? Should James Comey get the Judge Dugan treatment and get the perp walk? I think it'd be a fun thing to see. Adios, James Comey. All right, people are sounding off on all the platforms so far. Everybody thinks that a perp walk is in James Comey's future. Let us know what you think. Love to hear from you and comment on this. It's going to be a big story all day. And there's no confirmation. I've read one source that said the Secret Service was at his house either late last night or bright and early this morning. They decided, hey, let's not let the guy sleep. Let's have some conversation with him. I've read other sources that say there's no confirmation that Secret Service has been to the house of James Comey. But they do say Secret Service has confirmed that they are going to see him. And so, James, straighten up, sit up straight, and make up some answers, and continue to just step in it, because you're stepping in it with every statement you put out. I didn't know I knew it was a political. I just didn't know what it meant. Would any of you put out a political message and endorse a political message and say it's a cool political message and not really understand what it meant? I don't think so. I don't think you would put out a political message and say, isn't this a cool political message? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that political message. Well, what political message did you think it was? All right, other stories we want to get to this morning on the program. Sherry Cree, you hear us talk about Sherry on the program. She's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes, talking about real estate. Going to talk about the art of negotiation, the art of pricing, and a couple of other great topics with Sherry. You don't want to miss this. Sherry Cree on with the program. If you got a real estate question to jump into the conversation, feel free to post that on all the chat room feeds that we have, and I will be sure to see if we can get maybe some answers or some insight on that. But Sherry Cree is going to also be with us. In Colorado, a lot of people are understanding that property tax assessment and your value that has come out, and so we will talk about all these topics with Sherry Cree coming up in just a few moments on the show. homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Question of the day: should James Comey be arrested? So far, 100% of you say absolutely he should be arrested. Let me read some more comments before I go to another story. RJ says Comey should get the same treatment as the director of the Bill Hillary International Airport got. Wow. We know what happened there. Boom, boom, boom. Jim says, put him in one of the same cells in D.C. that they put the alleged J6 insurrectionist in while they're awaiting the hearing. That's not a bad idea. Hey, Comey, we're going to investigate this, and we think you might have been plotting a coup or an insurrection or an assassination. So we're going to just need to lock you up like a J6er, and you just stay put right here. We'll slide some food and something under the door every once in a while, but enjoy solitary. Jim Comey, I think, Jim, that's a great idea for Mr. Comey. Treat him like an insurrectionist. Treat him like a J6er. You know, I thought moving him to El Salvador was a great idea, but I'm thinking maybe just treat him like a J6er and see how old narcissistic James Comey likes it. Also coming up on the program today is Mr. Doug Giles, brother from a different mother. Doug going to be on the show at 9 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Doug Giles on the program, and he messaged me earlier this morning, said, we got to talk about 86ing 47, the political assassination attempt that is endorsed by James Comey, former FBI director. Question of the day, should James Comey be arrested? You guys are coming up with some very great answers and topics of conversation. It is interesting that it takes an attempted hit on the president by James Comey, former FBI director, to overshadow the good and the incredible, I think, success that has happened as Donald Trump has been touring the volatile Middle East region. He's returning home, I believe, today, but the successes are palatable, and you can even read some Democrats out there giving him credit for a real fantastic trip overseas. What say you? Final days of President Trump's excursion, according to justthenews.com. Iran is clearly experiencing some serious case of FOMO. That means fear of missing out. President Trump has aligned nations more closely with him, and he has caused them to move away from China, move away from alliances to Russia, and be emboldened to speak out against the Iran and the mullahs and their pursuit of a nuclear weapon. Tehran's longtime allies like Syria and Qatar are now cozying up with the American president. They're giving him lavish celebrations and salutes. They're ponying up $1.2 trillion in U.S. investments. Again, these are allies like Syria and Qatar that this week are celebrating the president of the United States. It's shifting them toward an Arab-Israeli-U.S. alliance, and they're spending money to prove it. On Thursday, that would be yesterday, Tehran blinked. Did you hear this? Tehran said, oh, God, the Syrians aren't talking to us anymore. They're on the Trump train. The Qatarians are celebrating and lighting up their whole skyline like Abu Dhabi, red, white, and blue. You got to be kidding me. So Tehran's longtime allies are now cozying up to the American president. And so yesterday, top Iranian official Ali Shamakhani said his country, we're ready to make a deal with Trump. They had the fear of missing out. We're ready to make a deal with Trump, we say. Under the deal, Iran says we would agree to never make nuclear weapons. We will destroy our existing stockpile in exchange if President Trump will lift his sanctions against Iran. The capitulation is sending shockwaves around the globe, including into Congress. Representative Brad Knott of North Carolina was quoted, said, I don't think Iran bent. I think they just plain folded. There was nothing voluntary. They just out of nowhere issued a press statement and held a press conference that says, we want to negotiate. And they held their hands up and said, we surrender here. The one member of Congress said President Trump came in. He immediately put on diplomatic pressure. He put financial pressure, and he basically had two barrels loaded, metaphorically, of course, at the Iranian regime and said, you can roll the dice, but you're not going to have a country left, and you're not going to have an ability to survive if you keep playing this game with me. What say you, you little mullahs in Iran? And evidently Iran blinked yesterday and said, we will destroy everything that has to do with nuclear weapons. We promise, we promise, we promise. We will be good boys. And so it's fascinating to watch. You know the Crown Prince of Bel-Air? The Crown Prince of Bel-Air that runs the Saudi Arabians. I think they call him the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, but I prefer to call him the Crown Prince of Bel-Air. I think that's better. Or the Fresh Prince of Saudi Arabia. Well, maybe that's his name. He said that President Trump is now the president of the world, and we respect the president of the world. The stark contrast between how Joseph Rubeloid Poopy Pants Biden was received in the Middle East versus how Donald Trump was received in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Abu Dhabi, all these places is just fascinating. And evidently Iran has blinked and said, please, Mr. President, please do not forget us. They have the FOMO, the fear of missing out. So everybody pay attention. This is going to be, I think, one of the, I'm trying to, you see presidents do junkets and trips all the time. And they always have what they call deliverables. And these are things that they know that they can accomplish and know that they can succeed with. And they're kind of prearranged press shoots. Right? And they always have deliverable. We decided that we're going to buy 14 cows and there's little things, but they're deliverables and they can celebrate them. Well, whoever set up the deliverables on this trip should get a pay raise because the deliverables coming in, trillions of dollars of investment happening, and trillions of dollars coming into into the coffers of the United States. It's phenomenal. I can't think of a presidential visit, especially in the last 4 years, that had more deliverables for the American people than this trip to the Middle East. It's been really stunning. And James Comey, of course, now highlights the hatred and the Trump derangement syndrome, still wanting to kill a guy that's actually out there doing demonstrable things that bring that for America. So anyway, we'll talk about that throughout the course of the next week, I'm sure, as the fallout and the benefits of that big time meeting continue. We will discuss that in the coming moments of the show. Anybody see this story? The COVID backs the booger cootie virus back down. This is a very interesting story. Government agencies have now said that we need to end the routine booger cootie shots. I have to say it that way, because if you don't, the tube that starts with a U gets very upset when we talk about this word right here. Very upset when you talk about the booger cootie virus. So that's what we're talking about. The World Health Organization in 2023 declared that the COVID booger cootie virus pandemic was over. But the United States continue to say that pregnant women, teens, and children should continue to get that booger cootie virus shot that will that pads the pockets of Big Pharma. Well, the Department of Health and Human Services now dropping recommendations for all routine booger cootie virus vaccines for pregnant women, teen, and children. I hate to say it, if you have a teen or a child and you got them that booger cootie virus shot, I'm sorry, you should have paid attention. It's not good. The plan was first reported late Thursday by the Wall Street Journal. That's last night. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is part of the HHS, recommended that individuals aged 6 months and older should be given an updated vaccine. Well, according to sources, they're going to get rid of that, and there's a routine vaccinations of the booger cootie virus should not be given to teenagers now. They should not be given to babies. They should not be given to pregnant women. So isn't it interesting? They now say probably shouldn't be given them to all those people. Probably not the safest thing in the world to do. Isn't it amazing that for many years, a lot of you thought the HHS and the government establishment would never give us something unsafe. They always have our best interests at heart. But up until today, they have always recommended that if you're a teenager, a baby above 6 months old, you should get your regular booger cootie virus shot. And now HHS says, yeah, that's probably a bad idea. Probably a bad idea. We changed our mind. Don't get that shot. You shouldn't get it if you're pregnant, a teenager, or a child. Think of all the teenagers and children and pregnant women that have gotten it up until this point because they believed that Dr. Fauci and the government were telling them the truth. They should have been believing conspiracy theorists like myself. They should have been believing people like myself that said that shot is nothing that you want to have injected in your body. HHS headline is going to end recommendations for routine booger cootie virus shots for pregnant women, teens, and children. Oops, never mind. It shouldn't be taking it. Now they're not saying other people shouldn't take it. They're just saying those three categories that have had great fallout and demonstrable harm by that shot are no longer going to be routinely recommended to get that. So good for HHS under the leadership, of course, of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. One more quick story before I get into the my next guest of the show. The National Guard's being called up. You say, where's the National Guard being called up? Colorado, California? Well, no. It's being called up to help at the border. Here's a big story. Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin is confirming a request has been sent that National Guard troops could help with deportations. Please give us your National Guard troops. We want to help get these illegal criminals out of our country. The Department of Homeland Security has formally requested the Pentagon to give them 20,000 National Guard troops to help with mass deportations. It's not clear whether the troops will need approval from state governors or if they're going to be federalized, but it comes after President Trump told the DHS to increase its deportation force. Donald Trump says we're not getting enough of these criminals out of our country. Let's get some more of them the heck out of here. And so Tricia McLaughlin with the Department of Homeland Security confirmed the request to thehill.com, stating that the guards would help carry out President's mandate to help from the American people to arrest and deport criminal illegal aliens. And the Pentagon has also confirmed that it has received the request It is not providing details on the request because no decision has been made. It is being reviewed. Some states have already sent National Guard troops to the border, including Texas, which gave even troops permission to arrest illegal migrants. Florida has also sent troops to the southern border, and they're trying to get 20,000 more. So everybody stand by. The National Guard's coming to save the day and get these illegal criminals out of our way. Good for the National Guard, good for the Department of Homeland Security. And to all you illegal criminals out there, hey, hey, ho, ho, your ass has got to go. Not as poetic as I had hoped it would be, but I think it's still pretty poetic. All right, good to have all of you out there. Question of the day, should James Comey be arrested for his looking at the seashells on the seashore? Should James Comey be perp walked? I say yes. So far, all of you say yes. Producer Chad, put up the photo one more time for those just joining us, if we can. This is the tweet that James Comey put out there on his Instagram, and he says, I just stumbled down the seashore and saw these seashells. It said 8647, and I said, cool, look what I found on the seashore when I saw the seashells. And then he got criticized and said, you're putting a hit, you're calling for the assassination of the President of the United States. 86 means, it's a number that means terminated. And James Comey says, oh my God, vapors. I knew it was a political message, Mr. Lakey. I just didn't know what the message was. So I tweeted it out and said, what a cool political message that the seashells on the seashore telling us it's wonderful. But I just didn't know it was a bad political message. I just thought it was political. What a dumbass this man is. What a disgrace. You know, I don't know who his mama was, but Mama Comey has to be going, did I really give birth to that? That's the spawn of Satan. What happened? I mean, usually it's the milkman's kid. It's got to be Beelzebub's child. What the hell's happening with there? His family's got to be disgraced by him, but probably not. He's a narcissist. And the fact that you put out a political message and then say, well, I knew it was political, I just didn't know what. Well, why would you put it out and endorse a political message that you weren't quite sure of, you jackwagon? All right, more pleasant topics, shall we? I think we shall. Good to have you here tomorrow night. Big time fun gonna happen tomorrow night. If you're not going to be part of it, you're gonna have the FOMO tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, if you're not at our casino gala at the Omni Interlaken Resort and Hotel in Broomfield, Colorado, if you're not at the party tomorrow night, you're going to have FOMO. You're going to be missing out. It's going to be the party of the century, or at least party of the first 6 months of the year. It's one of our two big fundraisers, public fundraisers. We do other smaller ones, but this is one of our big fundraisers. Two big fundraisers. We do a golf tournament, and we also do the casino gala. I skipped last year because of a venue conflict, but we're back on an annual gala. It's Casino Party, and there's still time to get in on the party if you want to. Prices have gone up, but hey, suck it up, Buttercup. I've been warning you about this for weeks. We can still squeeze a couple of more folks in. We'll probably pull it down here in just a bit, but we'll squeeze a couple of more folks in to the casino gala. All the prizes, all the money benefits Rivers Promise, our charity. And one more time before I go to my great guest here, Sherry Cree. If you cannot attend tomorrow, not planning to attend, would you do what so many people are doing? Some people are logging on and say, I'm going to donate. I'm going to pretend I'm going to donate the same amount as registration. Some people are actually... they can't do the whole amount. They're doing half of it. Some people say, hey, Jimmy, in honor of the gala, the casino night, I'm going to donate $30 and feed a kid for 1 month. Some people are donating $65, which feeds a kid for a month and sends them to school. Whatever the case may be, if you cannot participate tomorrow, our goal tomorrow and through the end of the month is to raise $50,000 to help with our operational expense for Rivers Promise, which works in Africa, taking care of kids, feeding them and sending them to school. Our goal is to raise about $50,000 here the next, starting this week through the weekend and the next week. So we'll have some aftermath of that. But our goal is to raise about $50,000. That's a big goal. It's a hefty goal. I question whether I'm even sane asking for that much. But you can help us if all of you listening to the show throughout the course of the day, judging by the numbers of people that watch the show, listen to the show, either on the podcast or the streamcast, if everybody that listens gives us, let's say $50, we would well exceed the $50,000 in one day. There's really a lot of numbers. We'd probably double that if everybody listening gave $50. Now, some of you can't. I understand that. Some of you give 25. Some of you give 10. Some of you can't give anything. You can say a prayer for or so, but some of you can give 5,000 right now. Help us meet the goal when you donate, if you can. write gala or casino in the comments, and they will count it towards that casino night goal. Don't have the FOMO, though. Don't have the FOMO. You don't want the FOMO. You want to be there if you possibly can be there. It's tomorrow night. Space is still available. If you're going to be there, I'll see you there tomorrow night. And riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org, if you want to donate or register. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you hear me talk about her over the course of every morning. She's a realtor extraordinaire. Her website is homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Sherry Cree is in the green room waiting, and boom, there she is right there. Good morning, Sherry. How are you?
Very well. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I got you. You're loud and clear, Miss Cree. Okay. You're loud and clear. Let's dive into a couple of topics. I've introduced you to our audience as the real estate ninja. You have ninja skills tactics, and I want to explain that. And part of that is you bring a lot of skill. We'll talk about the ninja part of it in a second. But we hear Donald Trump has the art of the deal. You have the art of negotiation, the art of pricing. There is an art that goes into this. It's not just a sign in the yard. It's you got to know how to put a price on a home. Talk about what goes into that.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to, thank you for having me here. And last time I was on the show was a month and a half ago, late March. And at the time you asked me about seasonality of the real estate market. Again, anything you talk about real estate market, it's hyper-local. So I'm only speaking to Denver metro area, 7 county. But in the suburbs where families have typically school-age kids, their peak of the home buying activities are in early spring. So the March, April being a peak season for buyers shopping for homes. And right now in mid-May, and we are approaching the end of school, and everybody's busy in May with all the activities. And then we track buyer activities week by week. We had Easter, late Easter this year. And then we had Cinco de Mayo, Derby weekend, and Mother's Day weekend. So it has been a lot of activities outside of the real estate, which tends to distract buyers from being focused on home shopping activities. And we have the Memorial Day weekend coming up. So right now, the home buying activities are approaching the end of the height of the spring season. And back in March, I advised if you're a home seller, put your home as early as possible on the market. And right now, the buyers have a lot more psychologically the negotiating power to secure the home so that you can move early in the summer. And so when you talk about negotiation, it is so important to position your listing or position you as a buyer and know what's going on in the marketplace. And then remember, real estate market is hyper local. So we track activities per week. We track seller buyer inventory, and then showing balance per zip code or per neighborhood. So just something to keep in mind.
It's very hyper local. So just because your neighbor or your friend across town's not having much luck, you could have a whole different story because the hyper locality of it that goes in there. Talk about, you mentioned it's kind of a buyer's market right now. It's great for the buyers. So does that mean someone who's looking to sell go, well, maybe I should wait? I mean, is there benefit in waiting to sell? If it's a buyer's market and you're a seller, do you hold off, or can you position that listing to get maximum impact as a seller, even in a buyer's market?
So again, it's hyper-local, hyper-specific to what the transaction is. So currently, the very interesting trend is attached homes. Those are condos and townhouses, and detached homes. Those are single-family homes, completely separate data we are seeing. And the attached homes, the condominiums, if you are seller of the condominiums, they are facing a very difficult challenges. As you know, the property insurance had skyrocketed, and also the property tax, has been high. The HOA typically pays for property insurance as the attached home community. So HOA dues has skyrocketed too. So not only home prices gone up, and then typically condos and townhomes are good properties for entry-level home buyers with a lower price point, but their HOA dues doubled, in some places quadrupled. So it's given a big challenge on buyers for those properties, but also the sellers if the buyers can buy. So if you own a single family home in the suburbs, the market is not bad. The inventory has increased, but some of the properties, well priced, well prepared properties, are still selling with multiple offers. But if you are trying to sell condominiums, you're not getting a whole lot of showings.
Is there something, you mentioned that Memorial Day and all the things of May have been busy? Do things pick up throughout the course of the summer? Is it June, July, and August? I mean, you mentioned the peak was March and April. What about later in the summer? Obviously, people are busy with vacations, but it's not too late to buy or sell. I mean, maybe some activity this summer.
And just like, all year round homes sell, I'm just referring to the volume of the buyer activities of house hunting. So peaks at probably, it starts in March, April, and then peaks at May. And then after the Memorial Day weekend, that those activities, slows down. And August, when the football season starts and people are occupied with back to school, that is the quietest time for buyer showing and writing offers and those activities. But homes sell year round. It's just the seasonality of people's behavior.
You mentioned the HOA fees. Another thing that make real estate kind of interesting in Colorado, if you're a real estate owner, is your property tax. I know you want to talk about property tax assessment value. A lot of us have gotten those little statements. I think I have mine somewhere around here. I have my property tax assessment value. Talk about property tax again. If you're out of state, this is kind of a Colorado topic. You're probably affected by it as well. But the assessment value we all got in the mail recently.
Yeah, and you mentioned the state specific, that is dictated by state law. And I network with other realtors in other states. And in Colorado, it's every 2 years on the odd years. So this is 2025. We're receiving property tax assessment postcards or letter. In Texas, it's every 3 years. In California, they don't do that. So they reassess the property value for tax basis when the ownership changes. So in California, like if your grandma owned the home for 40, 50 years, the property has very low property tax, but when it gets inherited or sold, the new owner will be paying outrageous amount of property tax. So sometimes the heirs cannot afford to keep it. So just to know, it's a state specific. And in Colorado, every the odd years, you receive assessment notice. Jimmy, did your value go down?
I haven't opened the envelope yet, I'm afraid.
Okay. Okay, so I got it.
I have it here. I haven't looked at it yet. It just arrived about a week ago.
Yeah, so I got a call from my past client, and then he's a senior citizen, and then he said, he called me and said, Sherry, what's going on? My property value went down for $50,000. What happened to my house? And then my answer is great news, because property value assessment is solely for the tax basis, the valuation of the tax basis. So good news, your value went down. That therefore you're going to have to, you don't have to pay as much property tax. So, just to be clear, this assessment notice you're getting is to be used as a tax basis. And then also another confusing thing for consumer is you're receiving a notice right now, and then you feel like, hey, my next door neighbor sold for this much, and there's no way, mine is this. Well, they are assessing the value as of June 30th last year. Okay, so if you remember in 2023, the last time we received the property tax assessment, everybody was mad, everybody was panicking because that was the valuation as of June 30th of 22, okay, which is the peak, the very peak of COVID-related home price surge. So, and then last half of 22, the interest rate, started to come in up, and then the market started to calm down. So it is valuation for last year's as of the June 30th, and then also for the tax basis. So if your property value assessment went down this time, that's a good thing because it's reflecting market change from June of 22 to June of 24, which market has gone down slightly.
So I know it's hyper-local. In Colorado, we've had surging prices for the last many years. Just because your property tax assessment value has gone down, are housing prices in Colorado overall coming down? Are they steady or are they climbing? Again, property tax assessments only for taxes. It's not about pricing of the home and the value. What are prices doing in Colorado?
Yeah, and then again, it's price point specific, property specific. So, but if you generalize on the height of the COVID frenzy of home price surging, we had experienced as high as 14% annual appreciation, and that is not normal and that is not sustainable. Right now, it is either zero or very slightly depreciated, in a recent year. So
steady. It's a buyer's market, though. And again, you got to get in touch with Sherry Cree, homewithsherry.com. Homewithsherry.com. Sherry, I mentioned this thing called Ninja, the Ninja sales tactics. And it's one of the ways that you describe kind of how your philosophy and how you're. Before we have to depart, we'll give out your website, homewithsherry.com. It's on the screen. When we say that Sherry Cree practices those ninja sales tactics, kind of unpack that, because some people don't know the ninja book. They don't know the ninja sales book. How do you approach real estate as a ninja?
Well, it is all about consultative sales. Our job is to inform different options to our clients so that clients can make informed decision. But can I just add on the property tax and the funny thing? So I just got back from Peru and I checked off my bucket list. One of the bucket list items of trekking to Machu Picchu on the Inca Trail. But while I was in Cusco, I saw so many homes looks like abandoned construction. And, rebars are exposed and houses and buildings are not complete and it looks abandoned. And however, so I asked the local person, what's going on? Why all the construction's being abandoned? In Peru, you do not have to pay property tax until the building is completed. So the first floor or part of the construction is occupied, business operating, people living in there for a long time, but they keep the construction incomplete So there, I'm guessing there's no certificate of occupancy requirement in that country, but to avoid paying property taxes. And then they have all those rebars pointing up, and then they put a bucket on it to prevent from being stricken by lightning. So I thought it was very interesting. Everybody wants to avoid the taxes.
Yeah, I want to take the front door of my house and say, I'm sorry, it's under construction here. We can't pay taxes this year. I wish it was that easy. Homeswithsherry.com. You heard her say it's a buyer's market, but listen, people buy houses. If you're a seller, people buy houses year round, and you need the person like Sherry to kind of be in your corner and to walk you through, navigate and put the strategy to the strategery, as George W. Bush used to say, put that strategery together. Homeswithsherry.com is the website. Homeswithsherry.com. And Sherry, I tell people they can just have a phone call and, again, get to know you, get to know a little bit more about your personality, your technique, your approach, your philosophy, and then they can make that decision, because you want to be the realtor for life. So you want to make sure everybody gets along and you have that connection. And that's what that first conversation and consultation is about, just making sure you're both a fit together, correct?
Yes. And then thank you so much for having me. And then I'll see you tomorrow at the gala for River's Promise.
Yes, Sherry's going to be there. Everybody, if you're there, say hi to Sherry. She's going to be there. Her and her husband have a beautiful table with a lot of friends who are going to be there. They're a table sponsor. So homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Sherry, thank you very much. Homeswithsherry.com. Sherry Cree, what are you waiting for? You think you're a buyer? You heard it's a buyer's market. Come on, get your hiney out there and call Sherry today and tell her what you're looking for. Tell her maybe it's a rental property. Maybe it's a second property. Hey, listen, I'll give you a hint. Maybe you've been thinking about a second home somewhere. Mm-hmm. And by the way, you did hear her say that she networks with out-of-state realtors. So if you're out of state and you kind of want to have a network, or you're moving out of state, Sherry can help you. That homeswithsherry.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Doug Giles is coming up here in just a moment. Our story of the day is James Comey found seashells on the seashore. And the seashells on the seashore said, it says, kill the president. Now, when's the first time you heard the phrase 86? I saw Scott somewhere posted something that he thought it meant something else. He said, I'm over 60. I thought 86 meant kicking someone out of a venue. First time I ever heard the 86 was I had a roommate out of college that he taught me 86 meant to trash it, destroy it, get it rid of. 86 that order, kill it. He was a waiter at a restaurant, and 86 meant whatever I just said, kill it, 86 it. 86 that order number 42. It meant destroy it, get rid of it, forget about it. It doesn't exist. 86 it. 86 that off the menu. We're out. Kill it. Tell people they can't have it. So I knew in the restaurant business, when my roommate right out of college, he taught me 86 meant it pretty much meant forget it and destroy it. I mean, but it's definitely not a pleasant message to 8647. But again, James Comey, being the narcissist that he is, said, I was just playing with seashells on the seashore, and all of a sudden I see these shells that say 8647. And I tweeted out and said, what a cool arrangement of seashells on the seashore. And then people said, you're trying to kill the president. He goes, oh, no, vapors. I knew it was a political message. I just didn't know what that message was. Really? Anybody else want to tweet out a political message you're not sure what it is and then claim ignorance? Question of the day, should James Comey be arrested? Secret Service says they are investigating and said they have or will pay him a visit. Now, let me ask you, should James Comey be arrested? Would James Comey look good in orange? Would James Comey enjoy the showers in prison? I don't know these answers. I'm just asking you, should James Comey be arrested? I mean, there's a lot of other things in James Comey's life that I think he should be arrested for, but I'm sure he can hide behind the cloak of I was just a FBI director, just a poor public servant. But this is something that has nothing to do with his position of power, and I don't think he can hide from it. He can claim ignorance like it was a political message I tweeted out there. Do you think you get by? So is tweeting a political message that you did not know was meant to incite violence, is that still legitimate? If you post out, let's say, something in a foreign language and someone says, hey, Jimmy, this is a cool political message, you should tweet it out there. And you tweet it out there and someone translates it and says, you just tweeted something that's calling for a hit or an assassination, or you just tweeted for somebody to go to the gas chamber. If you did that, do you get to be Do you get to hide behind ignorance and say, I just didn't even know that? I didn't know. I wasn't understanding. Rich says, sound like a Hillary answer about washing her computers. Remember that? Hillary, did you bleach your computers? Do you mean I put bleach on them? These people are unbelievable. And should James Comey be arrested? I hope he is arrested. I really, honest to God, hope he is. I hope some of these members of Congress that crashed into the ICE facility are arrested. For too long, they have thought that their hatred for Trump put them above the law, and it's time that they get slapped their asses back down to reality, like the big fat judge from Wisconsin that let the illegal out the back door. I'm sorry. Your hatred for Donald Trump and his policy does not give you an ability to violate the law and do things that are considered illegal, including threaten the life of a president of the United States. But that's how crazy the Democrats have gone, is that they feel that their hatred for Donald Trump justifies behavior that in normal circumstances would be illegal. And I hate to break the news to you, your hatred for the orange man, your vitriol for Donald Trump, your Trump derangement mental disorder you have does not give you justification to break the law. So Buttercup, put on the handcuffs, wear the orange, James Comey. I hope they come get him. My question of the day for you, give me the answer. Should James Comey be arrested? In just a moment, we're going to be joined by Doug Giles, my brother from a different mother. But let's go ahead, producer Chad, and do this stolen memes section of the show. And then with Doug Giles will be our final stop of the morning. Round and around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from. No one know we steal memes. And when your cake is judging you. Fat. I think it was supposed to say Happy Father's Day, but instead you got the corner that says fat. Yeah, my cake is judging me. I'm going to have to eat that quickly so that I get those nasty words off the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from. No one knows. Here's a meme without a photo. It says, having kids makes you realize how dumb your lies used to sound to your parents. You ever have that happen? You're like, I thought that was really believable when I was 17, but it sounds stupid now when my kid tells me that. It's it's James Comey walking with seashells by the seashore. Listening to James Comey makes you realize how stupid my lies were. Well, I knew it was a political message. I just didn't know that it was that. I just didn't know. Yeah. Thanks, James. You're a liar. Round around the globe we go. We don't have too many memes today, so this may be it. Round around the globe we go. When we steal the memes from, no one know. Here's a guy all dressed up in his winter clothing. I just realized why this month is called May. It may rain, it may snow, it may be 70 degrees, or it may be 20 degrees. Welcome to the month of May. And those of you in the state of Colorado, believe me, we all know that one. Some other states don't recognize that the May could be that way. But in Colorado, we could have snow. It was 48 degrees the other day. The day before is 80. It's just all over the map. Welcome to the glorious state of Colorado. Just to verify, I'll trust and verify. I think we've milked the meme machine dry, but let's see. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Oh, we got another one. Democrats, stop attacking our guys for wearing MAGA hats. We don't attack your guys for wearing dresses. That's true. We don't. You guys wear dresses. We don't hit you. Stop hitting us for the MAGA hats. Yeah, that's great advice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my brother from a different mother joins us in the green room. He just steps, and we bring him up. Doug Giles. Good morning, Doug. How are you, sir?
Kicking ass, Jimmy. How you doing, big dog?
I'm doing well. I think I'm doing better than James Comey. James Comey comes out there and says, I knew it was a political message, but I didn't know what it was. But I tweeted it anyway. 86-47, Doug, what do you think?
Yeah, Comey is full of more crap than a colicky baby's diaper. This guy I believe he used to be like one of the top dog law enforcement persons, like at the FBI. And correct me if I'm wrong, James, but don't they deal in mob lingo and put away bad guys and sketchy characters who bury people, in concrete? He knows what 86 means. I'm not a crooked, mob-oriented type person at all. I know what 86 means. I said to one of our editors over at Clash Daily last week, hey, man, 86, that column, it's not relevant anymore. And it meant kill it. But now, James Comey has no idea that he put out violent threat against Trump. And check this out. This is how the Daily Mail posits it. So funny. President Donald Trump has launched an explosive verbal attack on James Comey. Yeah, because he called for him to be assassinated. And now all of a sudden, Trump's, explosive verbal attack. I don't know. I think Pam Bondi ought to scratch around in there. And this is
evidently Kash Patel said the Secret Service has the lead on it. Secret Service says they are going to or have already paid James Comey a visit. It's unbelievable that you would say, I'm passing by the seashore and I see some seashells, and it just speaks out a message, and it's a political message, but I didn't know it was an assassination message. What kind of message did he think it was? I mean, if you're going to retweet something, you usually know what the message is you're retweeting, but I don't know what else 86 could have meant. His explanation makes you remember being like 15 or 16 and trying to lie to your parents about why you were late for curfew. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's pure specious, dude. Who walks, down a beach and all of a sudden, oh, lo and behold, here's a message in a bottle. So I was watching Jesse Waters, and he had Clay Travis on last night, and I haven't been able to find it. But Clay said that after Comey the dipstick put out this vile threat against President Trump, number 47, that he went over to his Instagram page to see if there's anything similar. And he said that prior to the 2024 Trump landslide victory, that he posted his support for Kamala and Tampon Tim, and he did it with a shell arrangement on a beach. Hello.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen it. He probably,
I've heard the same story. I couldn't find it. I don't know if Comey is scrubbing his Instagram feed, but supposedly Comey often has posted, including his endorsement of Kamala and Tampon Tim, has often posted his thoughts on Instagram with seashell arrangements. So it's kind of his modus operandi, supposedly.
Yeah, pretty gay to me, man.
Isn't it amazing that these people, their hatred for Donald Trump has made them think they're above the law? Think of that big fat judge up in Wisconsin that got arrested for letting the illegal out the back door of her courtroom. She's been indicted now by a grand jury. And I'm thinking these people have somehow got it in their head that their hatred for Donald Trump has made them above the law. You have these jackass Congress people storming the gates of an ICE facility, an ICE prison facility. We hate Donald Trump and his policies so much we're going to break the law. There's a lot of politicians that I have disliked through the age, but I've never said, oh, this justifies me to break the law. Their Trump derangement syndrome makes them think whether it's James Comey threatening his life or a fat judge letting an illegal alien out the back door while ICE is distracted down the hall or storming the gates of an ICE prison detention center. They think that they're above the law here, and maybe it's high time that Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and the crowd let them know that, I'm sorry, the law is still the law no matter who the president is.
Yeah, I think Ann Coulter coined the phrase 20 plus years ago, liberalism is a mental disorder, and it's on full display, man. I mean, you got Kathy Griffith back in 2017 with the severed head of Trump, and now the former head of the FBI doling out, assassination threats to the president who's had one near miss and another attempt, two that we know of, and he's in the frickin' Middle East. And the former FBI director is saying, kill Trump. And it's a weird day. And they pitched, people on the right, Jimmy, as, you crazy lunatic, right-wing extremists. We're not doing this kind of crap, man. We're not. And, when we lose, we kind of go into the night peacefully. These guys, again, they're full on, nuttier than a squirrel turd, TDS. Hey, you want to talk about something positive?
Please, let's do something positive now.
Hey, check this out. This came out this week, and it's over at clashdaily.com. People want to check it out. Stunning statistics, Jimmy, stunning. And it's Gen Zers, especially Gen Z men. Think of how many shows you and I have talked about making young Christian males rowdy biblical men on this program. I think it's seeped into the culture because Gen Z men are more likely to attend weekly church services than millennials and even some younger Gen Xers, according to Axios. And again, Axios is not a not a real Christian friendly website. Between the lines, young men are leading Americans' religion resurgent. With older generations, there's a consistent gender gap among Christians, with women more likely to be religious than men. But that's changed. With Gen Z, the gap's closed as young men join the church, and young women, Jimmy, they're leaving it. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it's good news, and it's going to be quite the conundrum for those young men that are faithful to God, who are hoping and scoping and have an urge to merge, because Axios said that the majority of little college-age women, they're going full-on TDS, Trump derangement, AOC crazy, and it appears, Jimmy, that the Gen Z boys who have an affinity for the faith, they don't like those kind of chicks.
Yeah. Yeah, but believe me, you shouldn't like those kind of chicks. They'll stop shaving their armpits and drive a Subaru. You got to be careful with them. You don't want those kind of girl in your life. So be very, very careful. You held up a book there. If you have one of those Gen Zers, or maybe you are one of those folks, you're a young man, lion-hearted. Tell us about the book, sir.
Yeah, so it's written to the 16 to 25-year-old. I didn't even know that that age group could read, but God called me to write a book to the young squabs out there. And this thing there's nothing like it in Christendom. This book will jerk the slack out of slackers. It will take a little male and make them into a rowdy biblical man. And I pull no punches. I don't do cutesy little crap. I talk to them like a drill sergeant, and like they should have already, at the ripe old age of 16, be totally morphing in to a demon-slaying, pipe-hitting nut cutter for the glory of God. And if they're not, if they're tinker pots and they love little helicopter mommy, then they need to read this book.
Yeah.
And Ted Nugent said that it should be dropped over college campuses.
I gave that book to my son, and he devoured it within a weekend, and he enjoyed it. Was sharing quotes I kept telling you about, and he's read a couple of your books, I believe, and he liked them. And he's 20, so he's right down the strike zone for him. He enjoyed it. Doug Giles, go. One more quick thing. I forgot what book it was yesterday. Producer Chad was online and said, "Look, Doug Giles is in the top something on Amazon." It's always fascinating. You look up your name. You've got all sorts of books in all sorts of categories that still, even after years, rank up there, number 1, number 2, number 20. You're still on the rank chart for all the Amazon sales.
Yeah, I'm pissing off all the right people, man. And Jimmy, I am truly a prophetic man. You know, my books are before their time, and that's why they have relevance. I just got to update some of my cultural references, to make it au courant.
What'd you think of Trump traipsing through the Middle East? I mean, talking about badassery back in the White House. I mean, they light up the skyline of Abu Dhabi with red, white, and blue. The Crown Prince of Bel Air, also known as the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He says that he's the president of the world and he's our president. That was badassery on display, wasn't it?
Dude, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And, he comes out in I think Riyadh to one of his big speeches, and he's got Lee Greenwood's song, "I'm Proud to Be an American," playing in the background, played the whole damn thing, and the Saudis gave him a standing ovation. When does that happen? It didn't happen with Bush, Obama, when his dumbass went over there, he bows to them. Trump's not doing any of that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you another thing, man, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, those are the 3 interviews that I saw, or the segments that I saw with Trump heretofore. Those are some amazing places, man. If people think, Islam and those places are filled with, the caliphate and these weird ayatollahs, not these places. They've said yes to the West. And it's incredible, man. Yeah. Very, very cool people,
And Trump, the Crown Prince played for him at one of their big rallies. They played YMCA. I'm like, I'm guessing the village people wouldn't have survived long there, but nevertheless, Trump shows up. We play YMCA while Trump walks on the stage. I mean, it was his show.
And they got Theo Vaughn with Trump entertaining the troops. Man, this is such, again, if you like the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, national security and prosperity, home for us, poor rubes in the flower estates, this has got to be one of the most enjoyable presidencies that I've ever
Yeah.
experienced. You know, everybody's like, well, he's kind of like Reagan. No.
No.
He's a
He's
101. That's what he is. You know?
It was phenomenal watching. I don't know if he's on his way home or not. He may be getting architectural renderings and say, let's change up the White House now. I like all that marble. I mean, he was fascinated by the marble everywhere. And then they brought up the mobile McDonald's. I don't think he went to it, but they brought up a McDonald's truck outside of the Crown Prince's house just in honor of Trump, so everybody in Saudi Arabia could have a Big Mac while he was there.
Yeah, again, if you think of the Sharia law aspect of it, that's verboten. And yet here they are, you know, in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. They're rolling like Westerners. And I think, you know, again, it wasn't forced on them like George W. Bush, you know, wanted to do, the Iraqis and the Afghanistan folks. It wasn't, all it was is just like, listen, prosperity and success, it can be so much more fun than shooting and bombing and killing people because they eat bacon. And
yeah. And last night, the Iranians said, "Oh, by the way, we'll make a deal with you, Mr. Trump." They all of a sudden came to the table because Syria is now in Trump's camp. They've canceled the sanctions there. Qatar has been an ally of Iran. They're now decorating the whole country in red, white, and blue. And so Iran had the FOMO, fear of missing out, and evidently they're stepped up and said, "Whatever you want, we'll do it. We'll destroy everything. Just don't kill us." It was 3D chess for sure. I mean, he was talking economy. And then you got the old mullahs of Iran shaking in their boots, thinking we're about to get the crap beat out of us.
Yeah, it's FOMO or FAFO. You choose, Iran. You choose.
Maybe that's probably more F around and find out faux show. DougGiles.org / daily. You mentioned that. That's one of your websites as well. All the books there. Lionhearted is the name of the book right there. The subtitle right below Lionhearted. What does it say, sir?
Yeah, making what is it? Making young Christian males rowdy biblical men.
Yeah, knock the skinny jeans off those boys and make them rowdy men. Doug Giles, always a pleasure. DougGiles.org, DougGiles.org. All things Doug Giles can be found there. Clash Daily, that's the website. He also mentioned has some news and commentary as well. Doug, always a pleasure, sir. We'll talk again next week. I hope, good Lord willing, the creeks don't rise and we get back together. DougGiles.org, DougGiles.org. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night is a big night. You heard me talk about Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. She's going to be there. A lot of those people comment in the chat room going to be there. Producer Chad and I will be there. Will you be there? I don't want you to have the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Don't do that. Make sure you go to register. Prices have gone up. But it all goes to a great cause. Now, one more quick thing before we depart here together. I want to remind you that I'm asking you from the heart of my bottom of my heart. I got to get that right. Would you make a donation today, Rivers Promise? If you're not going to be there, especially tomorrow night, because our goal is $50,000 and it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of festivities and frivolity and a cash bar and great food and great entertainment, but we're there to raise money. And some of you can't make it, not going to make it. And some of you can't, maybe the money's not there to attend. Maybe you're not into it. You just don't like crowds. Maybe you're out of state, didn't want to fly in, whatever the case may be. All of you under the sound of my dulcet tones, whether you're watching the live stream with my beautiful face, trying not to stumble in your walk with the Lord, or maybe you're listening on the audio version that happens later in the day, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Would you all contemplate and consider a donation right now to Rivers Promise? I'm going to go through the numbers again. $30 feeds a child 2 meals a day for 30 days. Who out there could do $30? Could you do it? Would you do that today? Could you do $60 and feed a child for 2 months? If you did $65 for multiply that about how many times you could do that, that provides the food and it provides the education and it provides their health insurance. It really is a holistic covering of a child for just $65. So that's for 1 month. So could you do times that by 12 and do a whole year for sponsoring a child? I don't know what you can do, but I'm asking you to do something. Maybe that number scares you because you're still living in the Joe Biden economy and the Trump economy has not caught up with you. I understand. God bless you. Could you contemplate $18? Tuesday of this week marked 18 years 18 years ago this past Tuesday, I boarded a flight headed to Rwanda as a chaperone on a missions trip, not recognizing and realizing that the good Lord had me over there not because I was a chaperone, but because there was a calling to take care of these kids. And I didn't realize how my life would change 18 years ago this past Tuesday, and as a matter of fact, this week. As a matter of fact, today, I believe, be the 18th anniversary, the first time I ever held my son. I believe that's correct. Listen, 18 years, or maybe you give $18. I don't know. Maybe you can't give anything. Would you pray for us and pray that we have a great success tomorrow night? I mean that sincerely. Contemplate a donation. We're raising money for operations. All the money that we raise is going to go to the operations of our organization, meaning we're going to feed kids. We're going to keep them in school. We're going to continue to create generational change in children through the gift of education. Education is a ladder that they can use to climb from the pit of extreme poverty. And I need your help to do it. Again, if we could raise 50 at the gala, I hope we shall, but you can also help. And a lot of you say, I'm busy, I got kids, I don't, whatever. I understand. And I joke with you for not being there and FOMO and F around and find out what you're going to miss, all that stuff. But seriously, I understand not everybody can be there tomorrow night for whatever reason. But if you cannot be there, I'm asking you now to go to your computer, riverspromise.org, and make a donation. And in the comments, put gala or gala, however you want to say it. You say gala, I say gala, I say gala, you say gala. Whatever, I don't care how you say it. But make a donation. If it's $1, make $1. If it's $100, I know there's some of you out there that you got pockets and you could make $1,000. Listen, our goal is $50,000, and it ain't padding my pocket. It ain't going to buy me a new hat. I promise you that. It's going to the kids, and $50,000 if we hit that number. And when we hit that number, I got to say with faith in my voice, that would really help fund our operations for most of the rest of the year. Not totally, but that would really give us a head start on operations, because I'm sitting here, and I haven't announced this to you. We're sitting here on a $300,000 matching grant for capital expense. In other words, to finish our building. But I can't go raise the rest of that money for capital expense until I can make sure we can feed the kids. And you can help us do that. Operations, you can help us. All right. Enough of that. Riverspromise.org. If I see you tomorrow night, say hi. All right. Say hi. Say hi. Look for producer Chad. Look for myself. I'll be the dapper one. I asked producer Chad, I'm going to have to ask him if he's just going to wear a hard hat and a safety vest, or if he's going to put pants on tomorrow. I'm hoping he puts his pants on, because good Lord knows you want those pants on. I mean, not that I know from experience. I'm just assuming. Well, never. You get the idea. Riverspromise.org. Go make that donation sincerely. Make it today. If you give $300, you are for 10 months feeding a child 2 meals a day for 10 months food. It's $300. 10 months, so you have $650. You're keeping a kid in school and fed and with insurance and health care for 10 months, $650. Multiply that by $1,265 or $30, you can get the total amount there. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Donate now. I'd love to hear from you, and just mark gala so that we can count it in the tally for the month of May as we try to raise $50,000 surrounding the days before the day after, days after the casino gala. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jimmy. It's been a pleasure. Don't forget, if you'd like to be in contact with us in any way, you'd like to advertise us, to give a shout out to you like we do Sherry Cree or Corey Clinton, 1 Hour Heating and Air, and occasionally the Lehman Lewis crew, listen. info@jimmylakey.com, info@jimmylakey.com. As the title says, I am the Duke of Dialogue, and I must now stop dialoguing because there's other things to do today. But I mean this. May God bless you. May God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Hope to see you tomorrow night at the Casino Gala. Riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org. I'll see you, right? Don't miss it. Or go donate. I'm going to go check the emails now, see how many of you are on that computer donating. If you're listening later in the day, on this podcast, Screencast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast. If you don't follow us here, like us here, you can hear the audio version of the show only. I am Jimmy Lakey, and I'll see you tomorrow night, and then I'll see you back here Monday morning. Donate today, riverspromise.org. I am Jimmy Lakey. God bless you. God bless America. Jimmy Lakey. Peace. Peace be unto you. I'm out. That is very biblical, didn't it? That is priestly. I'm out of here. God bless.